All right, ladies and gentlemen, with that terrific,
Awesome, man.
incredibly sarcastic fade
I
out
knew
there of our
that
intro
if
music.
I just
Welcome to
kept quiet
episode
long
18
enough,
of the
eventually
Empire
we'd go back to live streaming because
podcast broadcast live here tonight again.
live shows bop. They do. I'm all about that live show life, and I'm glad to be back. I do want to thank everyone who tuned in to our election live stream. It was a lot of fun. Awesome. Well, you don't need to spread spread that around on our second live stream.
Actually,
that's just you can keep those Dorf numbers to your Dorf self.
You know, not that the last I looked, it was only like 50 or something. Not that that's a lot, but I've gotten before. Yeah, that's all right. Hey, we're live streaming. We're up against a pretty good internet breaking live stream. Especially in this,
Dorf,
in this
you would
space.
be like if we
Tim Pool has
if
Jones
you
tonight,
know
so
back when network TV was the thing. You would be
tease who it was
like Friends, who's going up against Cheers, and their numbers are dropping. And then you go on and say, "Oh, and by the way, American Gladiators is on Channel 2." And just watch everybody go away. Yeah. This is bad marketing, Dorf. It's bad marketing. I mean, just because you're small potatoes doesn't mean you want to say, "Hey, the bar next door is serving steak with theirs."
I'm under no illusion that we're small potatoes. So
come on.
Anyway, we'll go. This. Their beer deal is better than ours. No, tonight's live stream here, we're going to do a kind of repeat, not really repeat, but revisiting our very first episode here of the podcast where we got to be take a shift as dictator of whatever country or the world. Josh Moore did it for last time from the perspective if he was dictator of the world for 1 8-hour day when you could lay down 8 edicts that would be followed to a T and how you'd like to change the world. We're going to do that again here tonight. We get another 8-hour shift as dictator, although I think we've both I did it last time from the perspective as dictator of the U.S. I think tonight we're both doing it as dictator of the U.S. So just
okay, this is what's up. I think people should definitely go back and look at our first episode where we laid this down. You're gonna see some legit edicts from me, and some gems from Dorf as well. But you're gonna definitely see a lot of that back then. But today I'm looking at this more as, last time it was I'm king of the world, or even king of the United States or whatever. Today, I'm looking at this as the country's in a mess, right? Who's the next president? Is it Biden? Is it Trump? Is someone gonna, what's going on right now? So they can't figure it out. It's January 20th, and they are pushing some stuff through. Till we find out. We're gonna definitely find out in the next 8 hours, but until then, government's canceled and Josh is dictator for 8 hours. So I'm not just the president, I am the Congress and I am the Supreme Court, all 3 branches of the United States government. So here's what I will do. First thing I'm gonna definitely do, of course, is pop into Air Force One, because that's a sweet ride. And I'm gonna give the where I want to go, and I'm gonna be in Air Force One. And in that time, I'm going to have everything laid out that I need for this, and I am going to list everything I can come up with, everything I can label that the country is currently doing that is unconstitutional. I don't want to change anything drastic. I just want to simply lay out every single thing that we are doing that is unconstitutional. I think this will take me roughly about...
Instead of
I'm going to do it while I'm on Air Force One. While I'm chilling.
Feet kicked up on the desk. What's up, bros?
Right.
Have
Yeah. So... Yeah, it'll be like a Festivus for the rest of us. But you didn't think I got that reference.
No, I was hoping you did.
But I am going to I believe that this will take me roughly about 90 minutes to lay down all of the major things that we're doing that is unconstitutional. Through this, I will draft the 28th Amendment. And in the 28th Amendment, it will specifically say what is unconstitutional and what absolutely positively cannot be done. I'm not going to tell them to do anything. I'm going to tell them what they are not allowed to do anymore. Because I personally feel that the one big flaw in the Constitution is they tried... Not just tried, they succeeded in making such an amazing and eloquent document. But in their 18th century eloquence, they didn't realize how dumb people were going to be later and how much they weren't going to understand it and were going to constantly debate it. Now, if you go back and read the Federalist Papers and read the histories of these individuals, it's actually quite obvious what they meant by what they said in the Constitution. But instead, we want to endlessly debate what they meant by, I don't know, lines like, shall not be infringed. People want to debate those. So I'm going to lay out exactly, for the people in the back, for the Raiders fans, for anyone who may have trouble reading or interpreting, I am going to lay it out there nice and easy and let everybody know exactly what they are not allowed to do. And I'm going to put it in the form of the 28th Amendment. So when the Supreme Court later goes to interpret the Constitution, that will be a part of the Constitution.
Okay.
Right. Exactly. Okay, I got 6.5 hours to go. As I'm walking down the steps to Air Force One, because the pilot already knew my destination. Yeah, the pilot actually already knew my destination. I let him know. It was, I told him to check the weather and take me to the nicest golf course that I'm about to, shoot around on the country's dime. I'm going to shoot around. I'm going to shoot 14 holes because 18's too many. And in my opinion, and you're thinking, it takes you 6.5 hours to shoot 14 holes. You've never seen me golf. It might, but as I'm walking down, I am going to tell the wonderful staff of Air Force One that I want all the best secrets, all the best, all the information that they may have on the Kennedy assassination and the aliens and the Illuminati, everything else that's out there. And I want to say, I want you to painstakingly print this stuff out for me. Get the top security clearance people. You got 6.5 hours. Please do this for me. I'm going to golf my round. Gonna maybe have a couple drinks. I'm gonna get back on Air Force One. I'm gonna thank them all extensively. I'm going to say farewell. That I will spend 6.5 hours. It will be the best 6.5 hours in decades for the country, because it will be the only 6.5 hours in the last 75 years that the government will do no harm to the American people. I'm going to bid farewell without saying a word to the American people after this. And then when my 8-hour shift is complete as dictator, I'm going to get a good night's sleep. And the next day, as a free citizen of the United States of America, I am going to host the best podcast ever, where I read all that cool stuff that I learned as Dictator, because it's not just that I deserve to know it. Everybody deserves to know it. The truth. The truth, the truth, the truth. The truth will set you free. And that's what we need. We need transparency. And I will have... Oh, I'm going to monetize that shit too. I'm going to, yeah. YouTube monetize the hell out of it. And, who needs a book deal? Books take too long to write anyway. I'm just going to have one wicked, awesome podcast.
One serial long podcast.
And, I'm going to spill the beans big time. Big time. And, the world will be a better place.
Okay. Wow.
What you got for me, Dorf?
Oh, man, I'm going to take it in the same format we did last time, though. I'm going to do eight things in 8 hours. So,
right on.
First order of business. It's not going to affect the things that may or may not have already happened. Jesus Christ, I'm going to put some fucking standards on what it is for a secure election, and election machines or voting counting machines that are connectable to the internet certainly aren't allowed. For the love of God. Just, all right. Not to get into events too much. The fact that your machines, Dominion, were accessible by the internet. I don't care. And the fact that you encourage people in your operator's manuals to not use passwords on their safety certificates, you're just asking for that to be exploited. Oh my God. I don't know a lot about IT, information security and making secure systems and stuff like that. I've only dabbled in that sort of field slightly, but I know for the love of God, you don't do pretty much everything Dominion did. Oh, fuck. Anyway, I would also, in the same vein of voting, I'm going to redo how voting is done. Even though I was not voted upon for my dictatorship, I was appointed by God. I am going to, require just as much as participating in the census, you should have to confirm or re-up or verify your state's voter rolls along with the census. So, there's not dead people voting or dirty, precincts with more people registered to vote than there are citizens in those districts. Yada, yada, et cetera, et cetera. So, you're not just, make it easier to remove people from the voter rolls and have it more a accurate representation of where things actually are, and we'll just make that a part of the duties of when the census is collected. I know that's a federal duty versus...
What if you don't fill out your census?
Well, then you obviously didn't want to vote. Taking the census is
that's my question. So
it's a cost of doing business.
Okay, so you must fill out your census in order to vote. That's not unreasonable. I'm just asking.
Well, the only thing that you kind of get...
You are registered...
The being registered to vote is a state thing. So you're registered in your state. The census is a constitutionally mandated federal activity. Believe it or not, even in a more strict libertarian reading of the Constitution, the Census Bureau is essentially a mandatory agency. So let's... I'm going to make that I'm not to say that there's an increased barrier for entry, but we're going to do a little bit more data verification on the regular compared to now, where somehow people who, would be 10 years older than the oldest person that would be alive right now somehow voted in Wayne County, Michigan this year. So, redo the tax structure. I know that we talked about this before. I think that there needs to be a bare minimum flat tax to participate. It's a very small rate for your first. I'm gonna peg it at $250,000 in an area where the cost of living index. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Currently, right now is 1. That being the average cost of living in the average place in the United States. My cost of living is like 1.04, so it's pretty close. Josh, I believe yours is like 1.7, if I remember correctly. So it's 70% higher than the average cost of living to live where you live versus where I live, where it's pretty much right on 7% higher. I would make your first 250 not tax free income sources, that whether it be capital gains or otherwise, the same way. I'm not going to give preferential treatment to capital gains, that being, buying and selling and profiting off the sale of stock, or your house appreciating, or, the fact that you have a classic car. Like, I don't know, Josh, is your Fiero considered classic yet? you bought that and sold
it is.
Yeah, you sold it for more money than you bought it for after you fixed it up a little bit. I'm going to treat all that income as one solid piece of income. I am going to get rid of most personal income tax deductions, but in exchange for that, I'm going to drastically reduce your rate. 5 to 8% flexible, having not done the exact math that I would need to run my government. A 5 to 8%, somewhere in that margin on your first $250,000, and then I would get extremely more punitive after that, essentially making it so that 80% of everybody doesn't pay much. And after that, I'm going to streamline the federal health care health medicine, the CDC, all that apparatus. I'm sorry, you guys don't get voted for. I'm going to make the heads of those administration cabinet level officials that have to be congressionally confirmed. And I'm also going to permanently enshrine in law the executive order passed by Orange Man a couple weeks ago, making federal employees easier to fire. If you're not performing and you're a career track employee like, I don't know, Anthony Fauci, it needs to be easier for you to be gotten rid of. Expectations are higher. We shouldn't be treating this, government jobs as the cushy thing that you get one and you're set for life, because you can't ever get fired, and all you have to do is show up and keep punching the clock. You'll be able to retire at 55 with a pension. No, I'm removing those incentives, and I'm making it easier for you, underperformers to be fired. I want it to be a privilege to work for the federal government, and I would also like to increase the compensation for those that do work for the government, because I want to attract higher performers, but at the same time, put up or shut up, or bye-bye. Specifically the...
I wish they retired at 55.
Well, you know what I mean.
I know. I do know what you mean. I wish the Anthony Fauci's of the world retired at 55 and let somebody else jump
specifically
in.
Talking, the man hasn't actually practiced medicine in forever. And if you've actually looked at any of his track records on any sort of recent medical flare-ups, God, in retrospect, has he been wrong a lot? I mean, look at his handling of swine, H1N1, like the Ebola flare-ups of the last 10 years. Like, Jesus Christ, man. And not to mention, he's 76, 78, something like that. Like, dude, it's okay. You can retire. We got I would also institute a cap on age for federal service. Like, that includes elected officials. I don't need 78-year-olds who need to be able to work 16 to 20-hour days constantly. I don't need 78-year-old guys with dementia in that job. I don't care if the people voted for him. Too bad, so sad. You're too old.
What about just one sidebar question to that? What about in 40 years from now when the life expectancy is potentially higher? I mean, because for instance, when the Constitution
we could peg that
was written,
we could peg that to the average life expectancy or something like that. I mean, that's fair. And like with my tax proposal from earlier, I would peg that to both the cost of living index and the find a way to peg that to both the cost of living index and the average annual household take home. As long as there's a Federal Reserve. And Josh, I'm surprised you in neither of your 2 days as dictator have you decided to go after the Fed at all. I'm disappointed in you. You're I'm calling you.
Oh, they're in the 28th Amendment.
Oh, are they? Okay.
they're in the 28th Amendment.
Okay.
For sure. Sure.
All right. Well, do it.
Oh, didn't I mention going back to the gold standard at one point in the last one, or did I not? Maybe I didn't.
I don't think you did. I don't recall. I'm sorry if you did. I did not have time.
Maybe I didn't.
Time to re-listen.
No. I might not have.
I didn't have time to re-listen to the episode.
I didn't either.
Like I planned to make sure we weren't doubling thing because hell, we were at 10 or 11 months ago at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So, secondly, I would.
Because Dorf, if I could jump in real quick,
sure.
Just to your point, because like for instance, if they would have said during the time of the Constitution, all things are capped at age 77.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all government jobs. I don't think there would have been much fallout from that.
Well, yeah, I mean,
in 1789,
founder of the Constitution, they were like what 30,
right? Yeah, no, they were, yeah, no, but even then, we were still kind of being run by older fellows. You know, I mean, even not right when the Constitution was passed, but so now we just had two people in their late 70s running against each other for president. But if you look back in 1820s, you did have a 62-year-old Andrew Jackson running for president and serving 2 terms. So there was some of these things in question.
I just Googled real quick the average life expectancy in 1776. 36.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those numbers are BS though.
Well, okay, because it also includes infant mortality.
Right.
There was a lot more war deaths at the time. So, like, if you made it past age 5 and didn't die in war, you made it into your 70s.
I said all those stats beforehand. I'm not usually the defender of modern medicine. In fact, I'm usually a hater on it. But 2 things they have done incredibly well over the last 100 years: infant mortality and saving the lives of women not dying in childbirth.
Yes.
Take out women not dying in childbirth and infant mortality.
I totally forgot that part. But
you'd actually be surprised. And take those 2 things out, and it's actually kind of shocking how much longer our life expectancy isn't. And like you said, back then, with certain things, if you lived to be age 25 back then, yeah, you'd probably die a little sooner than the average now. But strangely enough, if you lived to be 25 back then, your chances of making it to 100 were about the same.
Okay.
Roughly, a little less. Strangely enough, I know that does sound weird, but that's typically how it's, how history records it anyway.
And that's fair. So,
or at least maybe say 95. Maybe say 95 instead of 100.
Okay.
Just to be real transparent.
Getting back to my dictatorship here, I would force a mandatory investment in nuclear power. The increased ability of our nuclear technology has nowhere close to been harnessed because everybody's afraid, even though we've figured out how to get rid of the scary part. Essentially running it on, not being a subject matter expert here, but my understanding is a thorium salt reactor can produce just as much power as a plutonium, a uranium or plutonium. Well, plutonium is really only used in weapons, but uranium reactor, and it can be turned off and on, not just
and time machines,
not just
and time machines.
So, killing me. I'm going to, fuck this renewables bullshit because you know what? It still hasn't fixed. It still has yet to answer the variable demand problem, which is incredibly, as we're about to find out, demand is going to be incredibly variable based on how cold it is up here in the Midwest here very shortly. Nuclear is the answer to all that. Especially when you consider the advancements in the technology. We're not running a 1970s era uranium reactor anymore. Where I could agree, that shit's a little scary if you put it on, an area that's tectonically unstable, like California. I understand that, but that isn't a legitimate concern anymore. If you still think so, I urge you to do your reading. That is going to incredibly change our economy. There's 10 or 15 million people that are directly or indirectly employed by the oil and gas industry. They're going to be a lot less needed here very shortly. I wouldn't mind keeping them around and heavily investing domestic, governmental resources in becoming a humongous exporter. Because here in the continental United States and just off our shores, we have still incredibly large amount of oil and oil products, or natural gas, oil, and otherwise. We still have a shit ton of that available to be extracted. I would like to keep that going. You're still going to need to extract that for plastics and other petrochemicals necessary to keep a modern life up and running. But the overall demand is going to tank because we're not going to be heating our houses and powering our cars. And you know what? Go nuts on the electric vehicles after this because you know what? I'm having a nuclear grid. We can handle it. I would also, as part of my nuclear policy, we're going to commit to, over the next 20 years, modernizing the entire United States electrical grid. Instead of it being a patchwork of somewhere between 100-year-old and current generation technology, we're going to modernize it all so it is a lot, not only a lot more secure for security purposes, but a lot more efficient, to better serve our citizens. The next thing I'm going to do is this is going to get you a lot of criticism, I think, from you, Josh. I'm not going to get rid of the Department of Education. I am going to make college free, but I'm going to reduce the number of heads available and make it a lot more selective, encouraging and investing largely in trade skills or specific business, not necessarily business colleges, but you don't need I'm going to essentially by this, I'm making it, forcing everything to become more selective and putting a maximum head count what our universities can put out per year. Also, foreign students, fuck off. You're not welcome anymore. So, I am going to, closing the doors.
Damn, Robert Heinlein, when do the Starship Troopers show up?
Yeah, my last time as a dictatorship, I tossed around mandatory public service post high schools. Hey, that was one of my edicts, so I'm already on the way. But one of the things that people don't get right online, if they've only ever watched Starship Troopers, service wasn't mandatory. It was just the only way to achieve citizen status. I mean, as a non-citizen.
Oh right, yeah, no, it was the opposite of that. Yeah.
Yeah, just as
the opposite
your
of it.
Status of a civilian is just being a civilian. You still had all the rights and privileges of living in the society. You just didn't get to vote. So you could earn your citizenship other ways. I mean, that just didn't make a good fascism is bad movie. So, which is funny because I forget what the guy's name is who directed Starship Troopers, but very obviously didn't understand Heinlein. Let's put it that way. Did not.
Hey, Dorf. Yes. Everybody forgot the name. Everybody forgot the name of the guy that directed Starship Troopers. He's okay. It wasn't Steven Spielberg.
Yeah. So anyway, getting back to my education department here. So I'm going to make college more exclusive and return the value of a 4-year degree, and master's degrees and doctorate degrees, because I'm done handing out doctorate degrees in grievance studies, and I'm done handing out so many infinite doctorate degrees with no sort of cap on it, sort of national cap on it, of industries that the only job or employable skill that you'll gain from that is teaching other people it. I'm done with that. Do we really honestly need 500 or 2,000 PhDs in cultural anthropology a year? Probably not.
No, but that still beats the hell out of women's studies.
Well,
sorry.
I was trying not
sorry,
to sound
not sorry
sexist,
for being.
That would be on my list. But grievance. I mean, that falls under the umbrella.
Well, I mean, it just that's one of the top. I mean, basically in universities right now, you're not allowed to have a program that doesn't have that angle in it somewhere.
I'm very thankful.
I mean,
I got out just in time.
I
got out just in time that I missed the tail end of that. I'm very happy because I don't know that I would have made it through without, being very angry. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a lot older than Dorf, but I also, I guess, went back to college, later in life. So, I saw that as a part of the history department. You're not allowed to have a history department that doesn't at least touch on that.
Well, I know.
Have a women's studies department or program.
My minor concentration was interdisciplinary leadership. Essentially, I had been out in I worked in my career field before I was done with my bachelor's. Hopefully in April, I'm going to start working on my master's. So anyway, I'm going through that process right now. I had been out in the career world and heard enough speakers bitch about how we don't have enough leadership in corporate America, and not all people want to be leaders. I'm like, all right, well, I got to pick a minor somewhere. This looks easy, and it'll give me credentialing that says, hey, I'm management material. So I took that, and that was routinely small program. We usually only have students in class at a time. I was older and more experienced than the average Joe in that. A 25 or 26-year-old undergrad student at the and the amount of the class routinely turned into somebody who had just recently read Judith Butler versus me, who had a dose of reality. A 15-on-1 argument where I was on my own team. Because, this says this. I'm like, okay, congratulations. That's not how the real world works. If you were older than 19, you'd know that. If you had done something yet, you'd know that. Critical theory is just finding, we need something to bitch about so we can write a paper so we can get our doctorates or our master's degrees. So let's find something to bitch about. But anyway, yes, another one of my
So what's that master's degree going to be in, Dorf?
It's probably going to be an MBA. It'll be an MBA or a master's in business analytics. So yeah, I'm going to go get my degree, and I can read business data good. But which I
Cool.
can kind of do already. But
I was gonna say if you get a master's degree in history, it makes you qualified to host podcasts.
Or
so
yeah,
if you
how many of those do you have, Josh? You've got several, right?
under my belt, yeah. Podcasts?
No, well, yeah. I was talking degrees.
Degrees. Yeah, I got a master's degree. Yeah. And
the guy who works with
American history from a global perspective.
Yes, believe it or not, Josh, the guy who roofs houses for a living, has a math.
I do from a global perspective.
Does that matter? I don't know. I took like the mandatory 2 history classes in undergrad. Like that's it. All my knowledge of history comes from independent learning.
I have a bachelor's degree in pre-law as well.
Also known as why is Josh a libertarian?
Yeah.
But
they don't do anything.
Yeah. So anyway, that's part of my revolution or my edicts in the Department of Education, critical, which is just nothing more than Marxist class analysis, shall be hereby banished. Much like I believe it's I forget it's Poland or Hungary has done, because it does nothing productive. It shall not be taught in state universities. It is hereby banished. I think they did that in like 2017. Yes, the Poles or the Hungarians are woke on SGUs.
And they never got over banishing, which is a great thing for a country to do.
What do you mean?
Banish stuff.
Oh yeah.
Just to banish stuff, just to get rid of stuff. This is banished.
We need to do a show on the Hungarians and the Poles. They're in seemingly a race to become like the next Holy Roman Empire, which, I mean, if you're doing an actual analysis of it, wasn't really holy nor Roman nor technically an empire, but they're trying to become the next like Catholic theological state, make Italy great again. But the
more power to them, man.
They're trying, man. They're trying. And quite frankly, the European Union constantly gives them shit about it, but it's I forget what his technical title is, but he's essentially like the PR guy for the Polish government that always ends up on English-speaking TV. You've banned, essentially banned construction of new mosques in the country. Why would you do that? Well, like, when was the last time we had a terrorist attack? Oh, that's right. Never. Fuck off. You don't like it? Don't come here, because that's how we roll it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying I'm 100% with them. I just, if it pisses off the European Union, it's got to be good. It's like Smuckers.
Oh yeah, and okay, next edict here. I think I'm on number 4 or 5 here. Both the EU, not that I, as an American dictator, would have any influence over the EU, and the United Nations can fuck off.
I mean, you could bomb the shit out of them. That'd be some influence.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard to do a full-scale military takeover when I've only got 8 hours, man. I don't think we could get enough, air power in country per se in enough time. I mean, the big heavy bombers live in Kansas, and I don't think they'll make it there. The Orange Man, now that he's going to be retired here in a couple weeks. Goodbye. America will no longer be participating, and you can go fuck yourself. So, as evidenced this week by the airing of the human rights grievances that the UN Human Rights Council did, where China essentially is like, oh, you have systemic racism and bigotry inherent with your system, and we should condemn you. And it's like, fuck you. You guys are running you have a modern day Holocaust going on inside your country now. Go shove it. Go shove it up your ass, China. Fuck off. Anyway, excuse me. But
Dorf, I gotta tell you, man, the part about the UN that made me kind of want to pull the American flag out from under my bed, dust it off, put it on the back of my pickup truck, and just drive, brother, because that's just hashtag America, man. I just wanna, man, that was, yeah, down with the UN. I love that one, man.
Yep.
Proud to be an American with that one. You got me, brother. You got me.
Yeah, the UN can go.
No more UN.
Suck my balls.
Yeah, the UN is poo poo. Straight poo poo.
Has the UN ever been a productive member of society, per se?
No.
No. You could argue at the very beginning where there was standards for membership, but now that essentially there are no standards, then, like, you know, what's the point? You have to
whatever.
Yeah.
The UN was the League of Nations for normies. Don't even at me.
Name a more useless thing than the UN. Probably the League of Nations, but let's see. Oh, yes, would also push gold standard. Yeah, I would like a gold standard to return. However, I am not willing to. Josh, you're gonna instantly call me a statist here. The Federal Reserve is largely a good thing. I apologize for nothing.
I was calling you a statist earlier. You don't want to know what I'm calling you now.
Oh, or what is it? Here we go. What am I?
Oh no, I was just gonna. There's gonna be a slur of some sort.
Yeah. I don't know what else I really want to do. My first shift is Dictator. I think I've got it all.
Join me on the golf course? Or?
I mean, we could. At this point, I don't think I got enough time. Let's see. What would be something I'd want to do? Oh, yes. Declassify everything. Yeah, it would be another thing. Yeah, I want to see Dem Aliens.
You want me back, bro?
Josh, let's hop on Air Force One together, fly out to Groom Lake, and see Dem Aliens.
I'm down.
We'll do a Fort Knox on the way back.
You know, Dorf, back when we were working for the Empire Media, I wanted to go cover the Area 51 invasion, but
it turned into just
nobody else was down.
A nerd Burning Man. That's all it turned into.
Yeah, well, and that's okay. It'd have been fun. I wanted to go there. I wanted to see me some aliens, man. If nothing else, think of the interviews that would have happened. I mean, it was going to be great.
Dude, all it would have been
but
people tripping.
Empire Media wouldn't go for it.
Hey, all it would have taken, I mean, we had like a negative $5 budget, so whatever. But you would have had to fund your own trip.
I know. They wouldn't pay for my Motel 6 stuff. Yeah, I know. That's why it didn't happen.
Nor your towing bill when you drove your own car and it dies in the middle of the Rockies, but whatever.
My car would not die in the Rockies. My car runs legit.
Josh, your car
depending on which one I take.
So your car's like what, 25 years old?
Which one?
I don't know. Which one would
19,
you take
19 years old.
Okay. Would you take the BMW?
I would definitely take the BMW. Yes, definitely. Okay. I already took it from California to Detroit once. It was fine.
Yeah.
That thing
on that trip
runs like a top, baby.
Hey, believe it, on that trip we were actually both. I was in Omaha, Nebraska at the same time. I remember that. We were in Nebraska.
I know it.
We were in Omaha. I was out there for work, and you were driving through at the same time.
I know that happened with me and you, and with another old friend of the family. Actually, believe it or not, was in Iowa at the same time as me, and I didn't cross paths with him either. Bummer town, man.
Anywho, okay, so I've got one more. I'm gonna do one more thing here. I'm gonna retake control of ICANN as the United States instead of. Oh, thanks, Obama. Gave up, ICANN essentially. I believe it's to the UN. The control of essentially the internet. We gave it to the fucking commies. They can fuck off, and it's mine again. And also, as part of my redoing the internet, Section 230, I'm gonna pass essentially what draft bill is on Lindsey Graham's desk right now, with a few modifications. And I will also ban, because going through the European Union right now, by the way, there was a resolution that is going through the European Union right now to ban end-to-end encryption. You know what that means?
No.
Okay, so end-to-end encryption means your internet traffic. So when it's encrypted end-to-end, it gets encrypted on your end, and only the other place where your data is going has the decryption key to decrypt it. So nowhere in between where it bounces off any sort of public internet server can read the traffic because it's encrypted. Only you and the person you're talking to have the ability to reach. This is the way that currently like WhatsApp works. It has end-to-end encryption. So the only way to figure out what anybody's talking about in a WhatsApp conversation is, so if you're a spy or a government agency trying to hack and track or whatever for a criminal investigation, is you have to acquire one user's device which has the decryption key. You have to get, you can't just intercept the traffic inflow. Fuck off. You have no right to know what I'm saying. But my terrorism is not a valid reason. Go fuck yourself. So,
you're not gonna. I mean, you're doing the internet. You're not gonna ban. Not gonna ban ads on YouTube.
No.
Come on, please. No.
Hey,
all right.
I'm not a peasant. I pay for premium.
Damn.
I'm kidding. I do pay for YouTube. I am such a heavy user of YouTube. It constantly runs in the background all day for me. While I'm working, I pay for premium, and it's quite frankly one of the best $10 a month I spend. Even though it means I'm giving $10 a month to the evil empire. At this point, worth it.
YouTube less than BitChute.
There's a new one we're going to start, I think, posting stuff here too shortly. Rumble. I don't know if you're familiar with that. That's another
Rumble.
Like Parlor, another new alt tech thing. We'll see how it goes. So we do have a BitChute channel.
Right on.
I just discovered the other day that the automatic upload thing that I thought where it would scrape off YouTube after I posted everything, it's working. So I believe we only have one episode posted there. I just have not had enough time to upload the back catalog, which I have available to do. I just haven't done it yet. So, with that in mind, anything else, Josh, or is it time to wrap it up here tonight?
I think we got it, man.
Okay. Well,
I think we got it.
All right. That'll do it here. So let's.
Glad to be going live again.
Yeah,
glad to be going live, man.
This is gonna be
this is fun.
This is gonna be the format going forward because I have a lot less letting